Welcome back to the Troubleshooting Like podcast. I'm your host, Craig Poston, with my co-host, Jay Peters, where we talk about various topics, sharing our experiences on life and finance. What's up, man?
What is going on?
I don't know much, man. Another week.
Nothing down, man.
Yeah.
We both had a drill this past week, so.
Yeah. We definitely, we do a lot of working, I can tell you that much. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy the benefits of drill, but yeah, sometimes I want my weekends back to possibly do something else.
Yeah. Like I think Billy Ray Cyrus had that song, I Want My Mullet Back. I want to make a parody rendition, meaning I want my weekends back.
Yeah, the unit that I'm with, they used to do weekdays. I think it used to be like a Wednesday, Thursday, which is actually, it was kind of cool, but a little inconvenient.
Because you have a job.
So. Yeah. It was only cool because you got to, you get to see everybody. But then when it was time to if you're in the middle of a project, you're trying to finish, and you know how we do it, we use sprints. And you want to put all your time towards it. Then you got to pull away to go do that. So then it kind of feels like it gets in the way. And then the weekends, now we do less things for drill because now our, there's less people there.
Yeah.
Because we're part of an active duty unit. And so, it's kind of like one of those things which one you would rather work on? I mean, you can still work on both. You just, during the week, you have to take your own time to do it. And then some things you actually can still get paid for that you work on. You just have to turn in the form showing that you did work.
Yeah, I did the additional time or additional periods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, man. Mine was just a little bit stressful, so I don't know if you guys do this, at least in the Army, I don't know what your evaluation periods are like.
Yeah.
But for us, it's based off ranks. So so E5's their evaluation period comes up in bunch. And typically the way we do it is we'll have the E6s do the E5 evaluations, and then we'll have the Chiefs mess, which is the E739 aboves. They'll look over it, they'll chop it up, make it a little bit prettier. And then what we call the khakis, which are our officers and stuff, they'll look through it, and then it'll go to our CO and XO.
Yeah.
Right. But we were supposed to finish them up last month in December. We had I think 13 or 14 people we had to do it for.
Yeah.
Because we're not a real big unit. I think we have a total of 60 some odd people in the unit. But only 4 of them were done.
Yeah.
I was and I did 2 of them, and I was what the hell?
Yeah.
So I ended up having to follow up with a lot of sailors that they just weren't in. They had inputs and stuff, they just weren't submitted. So I worked on another 4 or so, and I had another person helping me work on the others. So it was just, I was why is everything so last minute?
Yeah.
Is that, and granted, I said they're due in March, but you want to have them due or done a few months prior to give the other chain of command or parts of the chain of command to look through it. But that was just kind of setting me off. It was well, that was useless month to prepare for everything, because I also had other stuff to do for the unit on top of that, and it kind of just there's a lot of wrenches in places.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that one. And I'm terrible about making sure that my stuff gets done, because I don't have to rate the E5s that's under me. Our E7 is not supposed to, but does it. So which actually makes it easier for me, that I don't have to work so hard trying to catch up with reserve stuff while I'm trying to work on civilian stuff, but probably will end up helping him just to lighten his load, because they're actually now that people are leaving, that makes it harder for him. There's less people around, and then the other thing that I've had senior people tell me to do it, and it's one of those things I just don't do. And you're supposed to write notes, right? Periodically when you do something, you've done something for the unit, write it down so you can have it to talk about in your evaluation.
Yeah, it's I call it the I love me binder or whatever it is, or I love me journal.
Yeah.
Where it's like you kind of just, because for some people, especially like for like people that are like you and I, or like high supportive people, we don't necessarily pay attention to certain metrics.
Yeah.
Right. As in like how many people have you helped? Like what did that reduce in like certain time? What did that increase in like productivity, stuff like that?
Yeah.
So it's probably better for us to do it because we are doing the work. We're just not capturing it properly. And I never fully understood that. Like I've never been like a metric type person or a numbers, as in like how many people were you helping. I've always been like a value type of person, as in like I'm going to help you no matter what, and I'm going to make sure like things are working, things are doing well, things are getting better, stuff like that. But I don't like put them into numbers. I don't see it that way. But the thing is, and I think a lot of people that do that, there's a reason why they may not get paid as well, is because they don't know how to, they are providing value. They don't know how to communicate that value to other people. So you may notice that a lot of people that are, especially in the military, people that are in higher rankings, they may not have provided a lot of value. They may be like Joe Navy, Joe Soldier, whatever it is. As in like, they do what they're told, and they're able to capture that stuff and then promote it, and then they get promoted. Right. Where you'll see like people that are like high support type of people, as in they're always trying to help others. They may still be stuck in like the E5, E6 kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's just all based on what you want to do, where your goals and stuff are. But to be, I think, a little bit more well-rounded or a little bit better is to communicate your value. Right? Because you may feel undervalued or devalued when someone that's doing less than you is getting paid more than you, or someone that's may not be as smart as you is getting like a promotion because you're not, right? And it necessarily, it doesn't have anything to do with your intelligence, with what you're doing. It's just how you're communicating it.
No, that could probably be a whole nother podcast where we talk about the communicating with others, because because that's such a big thing. The times that we talked about, we wanted to do I forget what Toastmasters. We wanted to do Toastmasters, and that's a way to learn how to communicate with people. And because that is a way that you can increase your value, right? Having the knowledge of communicating increase your value, which also creates the type of income that you receive. And so it kind of all falls in line. So I mean, how's your goals going, man?
Not too bad, man. Like place has been good. Been trying to get this stuff ready, or it's posted now. Like it's out there for rent and stuff. And I got like a couple leads coming through it, so it's been good. The other place, like I've been dealing with contractors to get the other flooring fixed up for the old place. It's been going decently well. I mean, coordination is kind of rough, but just kind of keep pressing on, keep learning to push when you need to push. It's been good. So, other than that, nothing too much other than like big. I know it's been a couple weeks and stuff, but I just can't even remember what my goals are, man. Like I just
I'll become the blur of all the things you got to take care of. Because I feel I fully understand you on the property thing, and I think that's why it's always better to get in it and then instead of doing like analyzing. Because I see exactly what you're talking about. Like even like the lawn guy, the guy had COVID. I didn't know. He didn't communicate with me, tell me that he had COVID. And I was like, man, this guy ghosted me. Like I was like, hey, because I had to reach out to him, and then he finally told me, I had COVID. And okay, all right, I'll wait a week. I'm a nice guy, right? I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna, because normally I guess how you would do it is you keep another lawn person on deck, switch to them. Instead, I told him, I was like, I want you to have the business, so I want you to have my business, so that's why I want you to do the work, because I felt like the guy did a good job. Like he did something for me, and he called it fall cleanup. Man, he cleaned up leaves, picked up sticks, edged the yard. He did like a whole bunch of stuff. Like he cleaned up that yard. It made it look really good. And I was like, man, I don't want to just like, throw him to the side. I already know somebody does good work. And I was like, well, kind of wait. I think it was probably another week before I got a chance to talk to him again. And he's already done something else for me. Where I don't know if anyone knows about English ivy. My first time learning about English ivy, where it's a vine that grows like crazy, and like it could suck the moisture out of your trees, your fence, like anything it attaches to. And he cleaned that stuff up. He did something else for me in the process. Oh yeah, because there was a bunch of erosion around the house from over time. And he went and got rocks, soil, all this other stuff to fill it in. Mm-hmm. Now that's filled in. Now we're going to work on sod so we can fill up the dead patches in the backyard, so we can clean all that up. And hopefully get it to a point where it could be rented. Actually, it could be rented now. We're just talking the property itself, but kind of like that, giving the customer some quality. So that's so the tenant some quality. So when I'm probably not gonna self-manage. I did want to self-manage, but to speed up the process of getting things done and trying to qualify for other things, I'm probably gonna get a property manager on that one, just to speed up the process. And I was talking to one. It wasn't too bad. It said 10% for fees, and this person said, hey, they have people on deck ready to work on things. They can do renovations if needed. I was like, okay, well, just kind of still try to do a little research, not pull the trigger too quick. I guess I'm not in a bind or whatever that I need to just pull the trigger too quick. But since I want to buy another primary resident, I'm trying to figure out how to make sure my DTI doesn't look crazy. So like trying to make sure there's a lease on the property that I have, and I got a lease on the property that we're living in now. So when we get into another primary residence, that is not a big issue. And then on top of that, I think we were talking earlier, I wanted to grab a quadplex in the process, and I'm trying to like hit these other goals that I had. I didn't write them down. These are more like internal goals. Like get some other things going, so I can have a certain amount of property that I'm that I guess that I'm holding. And that was one goal or one thing that I was taking care of. But I guess another goal is finishing this book, Long Distance Real Estate. I don't know if you ever heard of it, by David Green.
Oh no, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's a book that I've started, and I want to make sure I finish it out, because it can help out with the ideas that I have. Yeah, so ideas that I have about owning property in other states, and then and just even obviously Texas is large. Like it's so large, it's like being in another state. And like so you get like owning property in other areas where I have family members, and we'll try to get that. Because it's an idea I have where I kind of help out family members that never owned a home before, and if they can help me offset the cost while I work on it, they can stay there for a year at a lower
market price.
So
that makes sense.
So that's some stuff that I'm working on.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I thought when you brought up a book, I thought you were going to talk about you writing the book.
No, you still waiting on that one, huh?
I'm one of those people, bro. Like if you say something or if you tell me something, I'm gonna keep you accountable to it.
That's good, because that is something that I want to do, and I should just do it and not doubt myself, and I should just get it started.
So to me, it was like, and I actually heard this because one of the guys I listened to, he also like writes books and stuff. But he said that like what helped him with like helping other people learn how to write books is that he had them write a one-page book, like literally one-page book, and just post it on Amazon, right? As in to show them the process on how to do it. And it was similar with like how you were just talking about real estate, right? Just doing it, right? And learning all the processes, because it takes a lot of that knowledge gap and anxieties out of it. and just to show you like how simple or maybe complicated it could be, right? And then if it is complicated, how to make it more simple, right? If that's something you still want to do. Yeah, because I just thought like writing a book is not for everyone. Like owning real estate necessarily isn't for everyone. But if that's what you want to do, then you can start like scaling it down at a small level, right? So, and I thought that was a good thing that he said. And I was like, man, I never thought about it. Like I thought a book was supposed to be, and I've never really thought about like how many pages a book should be. But like, you know, a 1-page book, that's a thing. Like
Yeah.
it exists. You can sell, you can put it on for free on like Amazon or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
No. And again, you're showing me that there's no excuse. All right. Yeah. No, seriously, that's exactly what it is. Like when you get actually thrown back at your face, showing that, hey, it really is you. You're the self-sabotager right here in this equation.
Yeah.
Because I think I've heard that before. Someone told somebody, hey, to get started, start a 1-page book. I don't care what it looks like, just get it started, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that and that's why I wrote it down, because I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, because it really is me. And how do I know if people are gonna dislike my book if I don't write it?
Right.
And I think you said it before. You miss 100% of shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that that Wayne Gretzky said that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, when you say it, you know, like I said, it's almost like getting punched in the face. You're like, dang it, you're right. Like, but yeah, so you have to keep and like that's why I enjoy you keeping me accountable on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because like, well, because I like, so there was a time where I would say things, or I would be too afraid to say things
Yeah.
because I was afraid other people would keep me accountable to it. As in, like, say if I wanted to lose weight, right? And people were like, "Oh, I thought you were going to lose weight," and then for some reason it would make me feel bad,
Yeah.
right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I think people have like this negative connotation of like feeling bad, right? Where you shouldn't feel bad, you shouldn't feel a certain level of shame and stuff. But going back to the point is that like there was a time where I just stopped saying things, right? I wouldn't talk things into existence.
Yeah.
Right. Because of that fear of other people keeping me accountable. But I realized like there's nothing wrong with that. Like if it's something you said, that you should be a person of your word.
Yeah.
And you should kind of follow through with it. Right?
Yep.
For like levels of integrity, levels of accountability. Right. So I did start saying it. Like I've been saying I wanted real estate. Right. I've been saying, and one of the things is like, Jim Rohn says it is like one of the strongest words is the word until, right? Like so for example, like how long would you allow a baby to continue to crawl, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long, like what is that time frame? How long would you then say like if they can't walk, then they're just going to continue to crawl forever, right?
Yeah.
But they will continue to crawl until they learn to walk, right?
Yeah.
They will continue to walk until they learn to run. Right, stuff like that, right? So like instead of saying I will get this property by this time, I will continue to work on this property or get certain amounts of real estate until I get there, right?
Yeah.
Instead of putting like those barriers around you and saying or bringing yourself down because of it.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and then I think same thing. I purchased a voucher so I can get started on studying the exam. Problem is kicking myself in the butt. Haven't picked a date, but my internal date was my birthday. So then I was like, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. So that means that I need to actually just buckle down. And I think you already said it. It's usually how it works, right? You'll set a month. And then you got to take the last 2. Yeah. You got to take the 2 weeks to just to get the to start studying and get it done. So I'm like, dang it. So, yeah. So that's something else that I need to work on, and don't fail on that goal, because that is something I really want to do, and especially after proving to myself I know how to do it. So, yeah. So that you know, that's I guess that kind of leads into what we're talking about now, right? Minimize regret, not risk.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's our topic for this week. So I think it's actually uh, for me, kind of, I guess one of those things that I'm about, because I feel like in the past I've had regret, why I didn't do it, and it's probably because I didn't take the time to study, figure it out, or just jump into it and then figure it out along the way, right? It's like being thrown into a pool and then prove to you, someone else proves to you that you know how to do it. And I'm bad about doubting myself, and that's why I have to like always set a new goal, do something else, keep going. Yeah. So to minimize that regret about why I didn't do it, I should have did it at this time. Just go ahead, do it. Yeah, because I've heard the phrase, "Well, put yourself on the hook," and you normally just like I think we're trying to go speak at a university. I think it's in Houston, probably University of Houston, possibly. And it was just to talk about the company that we work for, and I immediately said yes. I didn't even hesitate because I knew what I gained from that, and that was the exposure of a larger crowd to talk to. And that way that I'm building up that callus, right? That where I don't have that fear of speaking in large crowds, which that could help us, right? With our platform. Like if someone asked us to come talk about financial stuff or just even stuff in general, about our podcast, we're not afraid. We just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. No, I do really. Anytime that it's like a speech or speaking in front of a lot of people, I always try to take advantage of it, right? Whether it's like in front of my unit, but like even when so like when I graduated from my bachelor's, they provided the opportunity for me to speak as like the valedictorian and stuff, but like they didn't say I had to. They just said like, hey, do you want to do it? And it took me a little bit, and I was like, man, I don't speak well, like I just don't. Right. And especially at that time. But I talked to one of my buddies who was graduating with me, and he said that he had the opportunity to do that when he was in the Marines, like and speaking in front of his class and stuff, but like when he graduated, and he said he loved it and he didn't regret it at all. And I was like, all right, but I'm gonna do it. Right, like they didn't like, I guess the additional voice to say whether to do it or not helped. And honestly, it could have gone like a different way, right? I could have asked someone else and they would have said like the exact opposite, like, oh no, you don't want to do that, man. But no, I definitely don't regret doing it. I think it was good. I think it was a good experience. I don't think my speech was good. I think it was a good experience. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people, they kind of internalize that if it's bad, right? And like, well, who cares if it's bad, right? Like, people aren't going to talk about it forever, right? And even if it's like something viral, like how many people are still talking about like Will Smith smacking Chris Rock, right? Like, and that's like on national television that actually happened, right? Like, a huge amount of people aren't talking about it. Like they don't care. Like, it's just something that happens. And even if it was at like a national level, it only lasts for so long, right?
Yeah.
So I think taking certain risks is good.
Yeah. So yeah, because you really do learn a lot more when you actually take a risk, right? You learn what not to do, what to do. I feel like you're at a more alert state.
Yeah.
And
what you're willing to do.
Yeah. Instead of like, if something that you're like too comfortable with doing, you kind of neglect some certain things, and you might not see everything that you learned in that experience. So like with something that you're trying new, then you're gonna go like, I'm trying to learn the response from a crowd, not by their words, but by their facial expressions, by how they're sitting, how all these different things. Are they really into what I'm saying?
Yeah, are they attentive? Yeah, like not even paying attention. Do they have a glazed face on their look?
Yeah, like trying to do that, because like, and sometimes when you jump into speaking in front of people, it's almost like it's tunnel vision, so you kind of forget what was going on because of the nervousness, and that's happened before. But then later on, when I think about it, then I actually remember everything that went on.
What helps me with like at least speaking is that I kind of notice that most people probably aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, like a lot of people will, like, for most things that are like speaking in front of a group, they're probably not paying attention. Like,
Yeah.
so for us, right, we have daily stand-ups. How many people are actually listening to what we're saying, right? Other than maybe the person, like the scrum or
Yeah.
the lead, right? That's probably about it. Like everyone else, they're just waiting to hear their name and say
Yeah.
their stuff and then
Yeah.
kind of go about their day, right?
Exactly.
So, but I think those things are good. Like just having that daily reminder of,
Yeah.
like, it's not as big of a deal as you think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's one reason why I kind of on that more, just kind of risk a little bit. I mean, in reality, if when it comes to speaking in front of people, you're not there for yourself. You're there for the crowd that you're speaking for, and that actually, when you change the mindset on that, that's when you become less nervous and more focused on like what you're saying to people. Make sure you're giving them correct information. Make sure you're not missing any information. Yeah, understand it. If they look like they're bored, let's change it up a little bit. Let's liven it up. Yeah, let's call on some people so they can see, hey, if you don't pay attention, you're gonna be the one that's that don't know what the hell's going on, stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I like about like comedians and stuff, right? When they feel like they're bombing and something do what's known as crowd work.
Yeah.
Right. They'll like, it's not like they're picking on people, but they'll like, they'll chat with the crowd. They'll get people like enthusiastic about what it is and stuff like that. So I thought that was like an interesting takeaway from comedians specifically, is that they're basically public speakers, but they're like, they have like humor behind it.
Yeah.
And when they feel like that humor is not working or whatever they're saying isn't working, they'll kind of like, say like, hey, did you guys come here together? Blah, 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 stuff like that. And they'll kind of just make slight jokes about it. I think that's a really cool thing to kind of, I guess, take into account towards like public speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I guess one of the things that we're also, when it comes to the fact that you risk things, right? How can you eliminate risk, right? Or eliminate regret? Sorry, eliminate the regret of the risk. And then we kind of already been hitting on it, where we talk about, just do it, right? And then whatever you learn from the end result, right? That's what you can carry on, and then you realize that it's okay with the risk. I remember when my nephew graduated high school, I gave him money, and I gave him like a letter, and it was a list of things that I regret I didn't do at the age of 18.
That's right. Yeah, you talked about this. Yeah.
And so like it was to show him that, right now is your time to go ahead and risk some things, right? It's a lot easier to recover at a young age than it is at an older age, when you're getting close to retirement or whatever, or you can't, your body's, you have kids, your body's not there, all these different things but when you do it at a young age, you learn so much more, so, and honestly, that I did some things that way, but I didn't, not some of the things I wanted to do. I like hopping out there trying to find jobs that I may or may not be qualified for, just to see if I can get the job, right? Things like that. But
and like, we talked about it like partners, right? And like when you could have, I'm not saying like go Mac on everyone, but take that risk to just say hi, or
to like a beautiful woman, and basically you just, instead of like sitting in the backdrop waiting, hopefully that you get a chance to talk to them, you just go do it yourself, because you don't know if they're interested in you, and you don't know if you're truly interested in them, because after you have a conversation with somebody, sometimes you're just like, they're a bit dense. I don't know if I can ask anything. They like, you never know. You're like, oh, they're too hyper, too much energy, like whatever it is, right? Like you. And it's probably the same, the opposite, right? People who don't, or like the female who really see somebody but don't want to step forward and say, hey, I really like this person, because they're waiting on the chivalry type thing, where you're like, like the male should come talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the, I guess that was one of the, I would say, of regret, only to, again, increase those relationships, right? like understanding how to speak to different people. Like,
Yeah.
and now that I'm older, then I don't have that same fear. But the problem is when I was 18, I had that shyness where I couldn't just walk up to anybody, start talking to them. I did it every now and again, but I didn't do it enough where it kind of made me like I could do it all the time.
Yeah.
Because when you walk up all nervous to somebody, then it's like it's almost the same thing as like not saying anything, especially if they don't know if they like you yet. They might think, they might think you're attractive, but if something
awkward interaction.
Like oh, that was a weird experience, and they all talk.
Get it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've done it before where I just walk up to people to talk to them, but like now I'm a little bit more comfortable, because one of those things. Over time, I've done jobs where you speaking. I don't want to say speak, but it's more like your income is dependent on the fact of you talking about.
Oh yeah.
Being a server, all right, like
tips and stuff.
Yeah, so if you're not interactive, you're not going to get a good tip. So like, it all falls on that, and those are things that help me get out of my shell. Working customer service or working a cashier at a grocery store. You know how many people love to eat. You're going to run across hundreds of people in a day because of the fact that they're coming to buy things. And guess what? All those are interactions. If you learn how to talk to people, learn that everyone has different personalities. Some people are happy to come to the grocery store. Some people are not. Some people are like, people expect a certain type of service. It's like all these different things. You learn it from just constantly speaking to people. And that's where I was. When it comes to like eliminate that regret, is just jumping out doing it, right?
Yeah, and we kind of covered like the learning from risks as well while we were doing that. But like another thing that I've noticed is that when you try to minimize the regret and take more risks, I should say, is like it innovates and creates more opportunities for you, as in like when you can speak well. Yeah. Right. There's a different level of opportunity. Like, say if you get into like a sales gig and stuff. I don't know if you ever met those or ever seen those cats in like the malls and stuff where they try to shine your shoes. Right. But like, hey, bro, let me get some shoes. To where like not just shine, but like clean your shoes and stuff.
I think every now and again, it's been a while, man.
Dude. Like I remember when I was in Maryland, they were trying to do that. I was like, no, man, I appreciate it though. But I mean, I remember other people like just coming up and talking and like asking if I was interested in certain things. And some people came out like, genuine. Some people, of course didn't. But that's just the way it is. But I think when you take risk, you realize like what are like some defaults in certain things. Like, so for example, like if someone jumps off a cliff, right, without a parachute is different than with a parachute, right? So you would learn that, hey, if I had a parachute, it would be a little bit more safe, right? If I had something softer to land on, it would be a little bit more safe, right? There's certain things that you kind of create in that situation of risk to help you. And it's like also good things that you could teach to other people, right? So like say if you went to college or if you just got certs and you started working in IT, you could probably impart like, hey, well, I did get a degree. It didn't necessarily help me. Like getting these certs helps me a little bit more than getting that degree. Right. And I think I would have probably got here a little bit faster if I did that. Right. You could impart that on like a younger person or a younger generation or people that just had general questions.
Yeah. So that is a great way to try to eliminate regret. And there's more things out there, as there's a lot of online sites that talk about it. I actually was just looking at one, and it actually had a chart about trying to how to eliminate regret. So there's many things out there, and I encourage people to kind of look into that, so they will be able to improve their lifestyle when it comes to taking on more risk. And it doesn't always have to end up being financial. It can just be that increasing your relationship, increasing the amount of relationships that you have in your life and things like that.
And I think so. Like one of the quotes I like is another one by Jim Rohn. It says, "If you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary."
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like if you, for you to do things that other people aren't doing, then you need to risk certain more a certain level of things, right? So, for example, if you don't want to continue to rent houses or rent apartments, right, you have to take the risk and get a mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Unless you have the cash to get it, but even then, you'd have to spend a lot of time accumulating or spending a lot of value to accumulate that wealth to get the money for a house, right?
Yeah.
It's a risk to buy a house and rent it out, right?
Yeah.
There's just certain levels of risk, but they come with unusual types of incentives
Yeah.
or whatever goals you want to hit.
Yeah. 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 Because if you don't like, I guess in a sense, it's almost like that muscle you need to work out, right? If you don't work it out, you won't see the improvement in it. So like, pushing yourself a little bit harder every time, and that's kind of like what risk is taking yourself out of your normal boundaries just to hit the next step, right? Or next goal, or just being a new improved you, anything like that.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, quick interruption. I just wanted to say from both Craig and I, thank you for taking the time to listen to us and our random rambling about life. If you have enjoyed this and think even one other person will enjoy this, then please share out this link, whether you found us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. It costs no money and little time, but would have a great positive impact for our podcast and brand. All right, enough with the shameless plug. Let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah. So, and ways that we create opportunity, because it goes on what we already started, right? The point where we're trying to make innovate and create opportunities. So, creating opportunities, I think that it's something that does require risk. Sorry. And if you don't try to risk a little bit of something, then how would you create something new, right? And you're not allowed. I'm not sorry, not allowed, right? It feels like you're not allowed to do certain things because it's not just taught. Say, hey, like your parents don't just say, hey, well, if someone doesn't give you a job, then go create a job, right? If someone doesn't allow you to do a certain thing, then you just go make your own thing. If you can't buy something, all right, then what would it take for you to build it yourself, right?
You kind of put these shackles on you.
Yeah.
That necessarily, they're kind of invisible. They're very invisible.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like shackles that we kind of put on ourselves. And it's because other people haven't done certain things. Like you said, like say your parents, right? If they weren't entrepreneurs, right? They didn't run a business, then how would you know to go start a business, right?
Yeah.
How would you, even if like everyone's telling you, like all the evidence points to it, how would you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah. Yeah. So like, I guess another thing too, like understanding who you are, right? Understanding what type of person you are. If you realize that you're a creative person, if you're not a creative person, there's still ways to build your creation, right? Like you can also talk to other people, get some ideas from them, and it helps you with building that new person that you want to be. I mean, with always creating an opportunity, that's another way to get ahead, right? By creating opportunities that you're taking a risk, with taking that risk that allows you to push yourself a little bit further along in the process, or like if your goal is to increase your financial situation or to have a certain net worth by gaining a little bit of knowledge and actually just taking action on it. Right, going ahead and risking what you think, because a lot of people think that you're going to lose out.
Right.
In reality, if you're doing your research, you just minimize that risk, right? You research what could possibly happen, because if you can see that, okay, yeah, I would possibly lose X amount of dollars, right? Then you may be able to set that to the side, right, or create some kind of safety net to make it where you don't risk as much. If you find out that the risk would be not having certain policies in place for your project, right? What would it take for you to build that, right? Sometimes it takes just that first initial risk, just hopping out there to do it. And then you'll understand that, oh, well, if I do this, then I can increase my value. If I do this, then I eliminate risk here. If I do this, I can hire a certain amount of employees to help me out with this process, right?
Yeah.
I think by just pushing yourself a little bit further to get ahead. I mean, honestly, that's what I did when I was younger. I tried to get out there and just do something. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the I won't say a stupid way, but it's like more like you try to be clueless about what's going on. Is just hop out there and just do it. And it doesn't work out for everything, but like I was saying earlier, for my nephew, who, well, he's 19 now, but like having that youth, able to bounce back quickly. All right.
Yeah.
Learning how to build that resiliency in your life now. So when you get older, you're not bound by fear, and you learn how to create your own success. You learn how to gain success from other things that's in certain situations. And I think it all comes down to like putting a little risk in your life and to help you get ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think it's like that comfort level, like if you want to really like get ahead and stuff, is that you get to a certain level of comfort and you kind of just like stagnate there, you plateau there, like kind of like when you're working out, right? And say if you're like trying to build muscle and stuff, and then you get to this point where like you can't lift more weight, you either in that specific, like say it was a bench press, right? For some reason you just can't lift more weight, right? But the thing is, like, you could change different things, right? So like for a bench press, right, you could go from a flat to a decline, a flat to an incline. You could do a different level of tempo, right, to make it less comfortable for you and to kind of challenge yourself in a different way, right? Just to see it from a different perspective.
Yeah. It's something I do right now that helps me get out of my comfort zone. You know how you take a nice hot shower, right? And you feel all comfortable afterwards. And right when it's time to end the shower, I turn on cold water.
Cold.
Yeah. Just it shocked the body, Yeah. And honestly, and then you stay in there until you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah. And it actually wakes me up. Like, it really wakes me up. They even said something, I was watching something and it was talking about how it makes you more attentive because you kind of woken up the sensories and all that. And and that was now I do it on a regular, especially when it's time to go to work. Actually, I did it this morning too, and it livens up my day. Because I mean, like with workouts, that pushing myself a little bit further, it makes you sore or whatever, right? But it's something about that accomplishment that you did it that kind of like, I don't know if it's the endorphins, right? It's just like it's like running through your system at the time. So and just I remember on active duty shaking up my day by working out during my lunch versus just eating during my lunch, and I think that built the endorphins also, because I would have an energy drink say that morning, right? But by the time you hit afternoon, not all energy drinks like keep you awake. Another way to like revitalize yourself is like doing a workout. In between the day.
Pump some iron, do some push-ups, go for like a quick run or whatever it is.
Yeah, because I would do 4-mile runs during lunch sometimes, and then I would same thing. I would go lift weights, but I would add in cardio in the process.
Yeah.
Right. So like that shakes you up. Kind of almost like HIIT exercises. How it keeps you from being comfortable like doing one thing, because it's real easy to do that, and that makes the gym kind of like a bland type of environment where it's like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again.
Just elliptical, do this treadmill, just lift this weight, whatever it is. I think for people that may not have like a huge intention on like why they're there, I think shaking up a little bit, like doing like circuit training, doing like you said, HIIT training, doing like different types of cardio, or trying to space out like when they do it within the day, like if they typically do it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, right? Do it at night, just to kind of like, I guess, revitalize like those reasons on why you're doing it.
So that's and I think that all kind of leads to kind of breaking that comfort, which also allows you to get ahead. Like I was saying before, jumping out there and wanting to speak in front of a bunch of people, that's new to me. And but guess what? That I learned something in the end by pushing myself, and you never know the connections that I might make in the process of doing this. So that's it. It's all it's all a thing. You do it for somebody else, that turns around, you get a reward in the end, you know,
Mm.
and that can lead also to, you know, create more joy and satisfaction.
Mm.
All right. Yeah. So like by you doing something for others, right, you risking a little bit of something on your end to help somebody else out, then the joy of helping someone or the reward of that they've helped you build a new person, right, in yourself. And you probably get joy and satisfaction from it, which also, like I said, and it comes from risk. I don't know if you've been in a situation where like, you're trying to do something for somebody else and it actually helps them out, and that
Yeah.
it gave you that satisfaction, but it was a risk on your end, right?
Yeah.
But not on their end.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like always been, like I said, I've always been like a helpful person. I've always been like a high supportive person, to the point where like, there's points where like, I don't care how much time it takes me. I don't care how much money I pour into it, right? Of course, to a certain point, but so for example, like something that I like to help people out with was like their resumes,
Yeah.
right? Like I like helping people like get into the professional world. I like helping them gain professional knowledge, whatever it is, so that they can do something. I don't benefit anything from that. Like I don't benefit from them getting a job. It's not like they're working for me, right? It's not like they're making me money. But it does, take my time, take my attention to do it. There's also things like say helping someone move, helping someone, fix a car, right? Whatever it is, right? Of course, there's certain risks because if you're helping someone move, say if you drop it, now you're somewhat liable for doing that, right?
Yeah.
For breaking whatever it is. But say like, what if it doesn't happen, right? Like, what if you move them successfully, everything goes well, right? There's joy and satisfaction in helping others. In my opinion, like it doesn't necessarily bring me joy, as like it doesn't make me more happy than I already am, but it does bring me like a level of satisfaction because that's what I want to do. Like I want to help people. That's just like my natural drive is to help others do whatever, right? It doesn't have to be anything specific, but just to help others. But I think like to find yourself like your own joy and your own satisfaction is where you're taking kind of like calculated risk, kind of like what we were talking about, is where that there's more satisfaction in doing the thing than if you didn't look anything up, or if you're not doing research and you're not doing stuff. So for example, like a lot of people get what's known as like buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
Right. Where like say you bought a car, right, and it was just because you like the car, right, or you bought a house just because you like the house. But when you do your research, like, hey, this is the car and this is why I want the car. Like it has a certain level of gas mileage. It has very low maintenance, or I could do certain things myself. There's things that the dealership will cover or the company will cover, and that'll make it's still a risk to buy a car, right? Because you can still get into accidents. It can still be like a crap car, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You doing all that research creates that level of calculated risk. And you can get a little bit more joy or satisfaction, or you feel a little bit better about making that purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's when it comes to that I don't risk when it comes to the vehicles like that much more. I say anymore, right? Now I actually am looking into vehicles that will have serve purpose, right? And for me and my family, and it won't be just a fun car, even though I am going to do that, but it's still a car I'm most likely going to research, right? I would like to get to that point where I could just jump out there. And honestly, I'm one of those people, I won't have buyer's remorse. If I decide to do it, I'm doing it, right? But especially when it comes to vehicles. And then the same as like, okay, if I was just to purchase a home purely off of my emotions, now, I mean, honestly, to me, that's to me cheating myself, because if I do it purely off emotions, then I'm not thinking forward, right? But in a sense, when it comes to a property, you have a better chance of adjusting that, right? To make sure that you can either buy you another home or just sell the home that you have.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we kind of talked about it, like, maybe not on this podcast, maybe on a different one, where there was a time where like your car had been like repossessed.
Yeah.
Right. And that was, that not necessarily a risk, but it was an event that happened that maybe you had certain feelings towards, whether that was a regret or something.
Yeah.
But you did realize that you didn't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not like everything has to go well, right? If everything went well, then I don't know if like certain things would be worth it.
Yeah.
But like, you go into that, now you have that level of understanding, and now you have a certain level, I guess you can call it joy and satisfaction when you buy a car, right?
Yeah.
That you're going to do certain, like, you're going to adjust, like, well, my income is this is what I can afford.
Yeah.
Right? Or I can do this for my car, so we don't actually necessarily take into account certain maintenance things.
Yeah.
And I think it's like one of the more prime examples of getting more joy, getting more satisfaction, feeling more comfortable with taking risk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, back on, I guess the risk would have been from the repossession was more of the fact I knew something would happen, but I chose to pick, like, I prioritized my money on other things like rent, electricity. And like, it was more like that. And it was like, it could possibly happen. You're risking it, but you're like, well, I got to prioritize where the money needs to go. And then I'll come back and fill in the blanks, where the money, but you live and learn about stuff, things like that. And I guess that was why I now when I pick a car, it's going to be research. If it's not research, it's like, it serves some type of purpose. And
well, I mean, so like one of the biggest things, do you regret having your car repossessed?
No, actually I don't. Yeah. I mean, at the time, yes, but no,
Right.
Because it actually made me tougher and it made me think ahead about like, what do you plan on doing with this vehicle? If it's going to be a joyride vehicle, then okay, maybe you should pick a vehicle that's a little bit cheaper. Or if you're trying to, I get to the status. I get to the status of being able to buy Ferraris on demand, right? I can just, hey, let me just go out there and get one. What you technically can't do unless you've owned Ferraris before and it's a used Ferrari. Yeah, they have rules and stuff like that to it. But like, saying if I could do that, right? Then I would still understand that vehicle serves only one purpose, and that's for my thrills. And it does not serve any other purpose for my family. Maybe it could serve a purpose for a business, but
maybe it's a network with other people.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Figure out, if they ran a business, how did that go, and how did that end up them getting a Ferrari, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and that's like the biggest point, right, of the podcast is that you want to take more risks and you want to have that level of no longer having regrets.
Yeah.
Right. As in, like, I didn't do something, right? Because I think a lot of the things that we learn from, while they may seem negative in the immediate, right?
Yeah.
Like getting a car repossessed, not being able to afford rents or utilities, not being able to afford food, whatever it is. We don't necessarily regret those situations now because it built out something for us.
Yeah.
Right. It built out like certain processes, certain values that, hey, I will never go through this again. Right. Or I will make sure to do my research about this beforehand. Or I'll make sure to have a certain amount of money in my pocket before I start spending it on certain things.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? When you get too comfortable and you're like very risk adverse, you tend to, and I'm not saying like everyone needs the things, but you tend to not have a lot of the things that the people that you may want to emulate do have.
Yeah.
Right. As in, you may not have a certain level of income. You may not have a family. So, for example, like having a family, that's very risky, right? Getting married, that's very risky, right? And the reason why I say that is like, so for example, getting married, you're now entrusting someone else with your things, right? And with your values, with your family, with other things, right? Having kids, right? You may not know if that kid is going to become the greatest kid ever, or a great adult, right? Sometimes there's a fine line between someone becoming Jeffrey Bezos and someone becoming Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Right. Like and those are like two extremes, right? But to illustrate the point, it's possible, right? It's still possible that when you have a kid, they're not going to become the best kid.
Yeah.
Or they're the best adult, I should say. But I mean, what do you lose when you don't have a family? Well, there's certain things like legacy, right? You may not be able to leave a legacy if you're not willing to risk having a family. Sometimes there's certain levels of joy or certain levels of gratification when you have when you get married, right? When you have a family. So it's not just like I know we're talking about like a lot of economical stuff, but it's not just in the economic sense.
Yeah. I mean, and I know eventually maybe we can get to a point where we, invite people on and we talk more about the emotional side of it. We can, the psychology of it, and they could probably help us, pull out why we have certain feelings about risk, and understand that, risk is the best way to go versus like just sitting complacent in one spot. And essentially, like, you treat like if you're in combat, which is not, not saying people should get in combat or anything like that, go to the military, none of that stuff, but like things that you learn is like if you stay undercover too long, the enemy will find you or get to you, right?
Yeah.
You have to, take concealment, take cover, but then you have to keep moving. Yeah, because eventually they will figure out how to get to you.
Yeah. So, and I think like a good thing to do is like, so we should define some words, right? So like say, let's define risk. So risk, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a situation involving exposure to danger, right? So that's maybe like a huge reason, right? Because not everyone is looking to go towards danger, right? Not everyone is taught to, hey, you should look for these challenges. You should look for danger to adapt and to learn from it, right? I mean, those are good to make sure that like there's a certain baseline of why are we explaining the certain things that we're doing.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah. That was a pretty good topic. Risk is definitely, risk is it's kind of like that enemy. That's that glass ceiling. It's those invisible shackles. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't take, or I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Regret are those things. Risk are the things that help you get free from those. Yeah. People look at it as with those invisible things, but regret can be all those, that glass ceiling, the invisible shackle. It could be all those things, right? But if you can break free by taking a little risk, then you can grow, so much more. All right, man. Now to our frugal and cheap. Yeah. Yeah, you had to explain this one to me, but I don't know why you had to, because this was like using other people's streaming services.
So like not having your own Netflix, HBO, whatever it is. Like I don't know how many streaming services there are now. But there's so many, man. There's still people like mooching off, and we were talking about like how Netflix had to change their pricing model because of it.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, I think it is along the cheap side, because that's usually what people are thinking about when they try to borrow your username and password to get to you. Yeah, that because they're trying to. Now I can see it, right? We're all in the same household, and you should you should make it cheaper for everyone in the household, right? Save some money, right?
How far does that go?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, are they sharing it out to somebody else, and then they're sharing it? Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So like.
And then you end up waking up and your Disney Plus has like 10 profiles on it. Like, what?
Yeah. So that one, I don't like that one too much. I don't like letting everybody get my username and password, and it's because of that, right? They start to make it their own. I'm like, it's not. No, you're supposed to borrow the profiles that are there. My bad if you don't like what's on them. Like,
and like so for me, like I personally have like Disney Plus and HBO Max, right? But if it's because like Disney Plus came with my cell phone carrier, and then HBO came with my internet carrier, so I had those, and I shared them with like my friends and family and stuff. But like I personally, I'll take advantage of it because like my girl, she'll have like accounts where like her family has them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't. Like, but then again, I also don't really watch things on like streaming services. Like, it's just me personally. But I mean, I will say it. I don't know if it's frugal or cheap, man. Like, I would say to an extent, like if you're giving it to like everyone in the neighborhood, I don't know.
No, man, that's definitely people being cheap at that point, man. That's not. I mean, frugal. All right, so the part where it actually becomes more of a frugal thing. So say you get Netflix, I get Hulu.
Yeah, and you swap.
Yeah. And then that way, Yeah, and we just created our own little thing where we're saving each other money because we're all trying to keep our expenses low. Yeah. So that's different. But when people just borrow and share out, and then there's no reciprocation of creating a thing there, like a network, your own network. And to me that's cheap. Yeah, but then that so Frugal is it can go both ways, I guess. Yeah, it can go both ways, but
I definitely support the sharing going, or like you said, like someone has Disney, someone else got HBO, like we're sharing each other's one.
Yeah.
But if I'm the only one like producing stuff, I'm not about that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. I guess we'll go ahead and get out of here. Thank you everyone for listening. This is Craig and Jay signing off the Troubleshoot Like podcast. We'll see you next week. Please like and subscribe.
See you next week.
All right.